Welcome back to another episode of the Girl Stop Playin podcast. It's your favorite homegirl, Coriel, here to encourage you to stop playing with your potential and start working for what you want in life and in love. You already know that I'm bringing you the information and the conversations to help you make the money and get the honey. You can have it all as long as you are willing to work. And I'm so excited to be back today for another business spotlight episode. Now, for those of y'all that's been down with me, like you are OG, triple OG in my world, you already know how much I love being an advocate for Black-owned businesses, especially Black woman-owned businesses. And so even though the conversation for season 2 is shifting from entrepreneurship to relationships, I still wanted to be able to have some type of opportunity to support Black owned and woman owned businesses. And that's what these business spotlight conversations are all about. So if you have a business that you would like to advertise or promote here on Girl Stop Playin, hit us up. Log on to girlstopplayin.com or shoot us over an email located down below in the show notes so that we can give you information on how you can bring your business over here to the show. Now, today's business spotlight episode features the brains behind the Bossi Retreats brand. Dionne Edwards, whose mission is to empower professional, high-achieving women to stop trading their wellness for success by providing the tools needed to develop their emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual well-being. Dionne is a former corporate real estate FVP that realized after a devastating health scare that she, along with so many other high-achieving women, had not been prioritizing her wellness. She vowed to use her platform and personal journey to change the narrative and now provides a safe space for women to relax and recharge through the curation of luxury domestic and international wellness retreats. She also provides a safe community for connection and elevation within the Treasure Her membership society. Dionne is formerly a corporate real estate FVP. She's a keynote speaker, and most importantly, her favorite role is being a mother of 2 and a wife of 16 years. Dionne, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Coriel. I'm so happy to be here today.
I am
Excited to get into it.
Yes, I'm excited to get into it too. So whenever I, am obviously like doing my research, reading all of the things to prepare for these conversations, I always find myself getting so excited at the potential for this conversation. I believe we can learn so much just by having conversations like these, and for our viewers and our listeners to be able to tap into someone who looks like them, someone who may have an experience that is relatable to them, and someone who can be an inspiration for what's possible for them. That to me is like the purpose of the podcast. And so I know that you are doing a lot in the wellness space now, but that's not necessarily where you got your start. And so for all of my corporate women out there who are dreaming big of doing something outside of their current position, but may just be dealing with some imposter syndrome, I love being able to have these conversations around like the imperfect beginnings, the things that we, did at the very beginning of the journey that people watching can be inspired by, that again, they might be able to relate to. So go back to your days in corporate America, and I want you to just take us through like what you were experiencing there that led you into what you're doing now outside of corporate.
Absolutely. So my journey started, my career started honestly in real estate. So I've been in the commercial corporate real estate space for over 20 years, ever since, right out of college when I started my career. And I love real estate. I've had, the opportunity to do so many wonderful things. I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. So I've been able to really impact the community that we live in. I've done a lot of deals, a lot of things you'll see around the city for Truist Bank, which used to be SunTrust Bank. So you'll see things everywhere, the airport, Truist Park. I had an opportunity to be a part of that. So I love real estate. However, what happened was as I, continued to climb the ladder, and was doing all the things and wearing all the hats. Essentially, my story, my journey is that I basically started trading my wellness for success. I had everything that, I look good on paper. You have the house, the car, the family, the bank account. However, I didn't feel good. You know, I honestly, was dealing with stress, anxiety. The pandemic hit, and I think it all tested us. It said, okay, you are a superwoman, but let me see how super you are. I think we all kind of got a taste of that during the pandemic. But for me, it went a step further to the point where I actually got sick. And for the first time in my entire career, I had to take a leave of absence from work. And, that was something that is not heard of, as women, especially minority women in these spaces. We have to work a little bit harder just to make sure we, are letting everyone know we deserve to be here. So taking that time off was a big decision, right? It was a hard decision. But what happened was I had been feeling well. I ended up going to the doctor, listening to my body, and I discovered at 39, I was, diagnosed with hypertensive heart disease. And what that is my blood pressure had been spiking, um, and I didn't know it. So it had damaged a portion of my heart. And basically, I tell this story because I want women, and I know so many of us out there that do this. Like, we keep pushing forward, even though we get up in the morning, we don't feel good. It's like, oh, I don't feel like myself today, but I've got all these things on my to do list. I'm just going to keep pushing forward. And we're not listening to our bodies. And I was doing that, but thankfully, I did listen. I got to a point where I was forced to listen. And we were able to catch the heart disease in its early stages. And now I'm doing great. But that is the reason why I took a step back, and I wanted to just really look at how I was living my life. Why was I living my life this way? And figure out a way, how do I correct this, right? I want to be around for my family. I want to be around for my children. How do I correct this? And sometimes we have to take a step back and really, really listen to the voice within. So as I started, sharing my story and talking to other women, even women in the industry, I found it's so many of us that feel the same way. Like, we're out there dealing with the same issues, but no one's really talking about it. So I wanted to create a safe space for us. And I just decided in 2021, I decided to host my first wellness retreat in Tulum, Mexico. And I did, and it was successful. And so many other women, the demand just kept growing, kept growing. And I really, took a step back and said, okay, well, what am I being called to do? Because sometimes it's not about our plans for our lives, it's about his plans for our lives. So I took a step back and I said, God is calling me to walk more in this purpose. And that's what I did. So I started Bossi Wellness Retreats, which is a women's wellness company. And what we do is we help high achieving women become the best version of themselves through the power of wellness and self care. So that is how I started. And here we are now, 2023. We're on our fourth wellness retreat, and we're headed to Santorini, Greece in October of this year. So we've been able to make a huge impact in such a short amount of time.
Okay, so you just said so much, so many things that I want to dive into because I knew it was going to be a relatable conversation. So on so many levels. First, thinking about the fact that we work so hard, like we literally sacrifice ourselves to show up in, however we think we have to show up to, as you said, prove that we deserve to be there. So we're overcompensating because we're operating from this place of insecurity, really. And so we're trying to overcompensate for that thing. And so usually that means we're wearing ourselves out, we're stressing ourselves out. And if we are not literally like killing ourselves, then we can't be killing it. We think that is
Right.
what like, I can't kill it unless I'm literally killing myself. And that is damaging. Like, that is literally damaging our bodies. And one of the things that I discovered when I first got into like my season of self-discovery and self-awareness and was reading all the self-help books and all of the things probably like a decade ago, is the link between stress and disease. And literally 80-90% of every single disease, ailment, illness, you name it, 80 to 90% are stress related. That means that we are literally doing this to ourselves, and we a lot of times don't even realize how stressed out we are. And so just
Yeah.
like your body, thankfully, you eventually listened, you eventually got the sign, and you're like, okay, let me go check this out. But your body had been going through something, experiencing something that you did not even recognize or realize because you're pushing so hard. And so a lot of the things that end up, that we end up being diagnosed with, they're like the silent killers in the background affecting us in ways that we don't even realize because we're so focused on getting it done, showing up for everybody else, rising to the occasion, fitting into this box that we've put ourselves in based on these titles or based on these positions. And so you literally, it wasn't until you didn't have a choice to slow down, like your body said you don't have a choice, it's time to sit down, that you said, okay, let me sit down, let me take some time off. And I can only imagine how tough it was for you to take that leave of absence. The only thing that I can relate it to is like my maternity leave, where it's like, okay, you
Hmm.
kind of don't have a choice, you kind of have to have this child, you kind of got to sit down somewhere. But it's
Hmm.
usually one of those situations where it's like, girl, you don't have a choice, you have to sit down somewhere. And that's
Hmm.
only time we allow ourselves a moment to breathe or rest or think. And so I know that there's somebody out there that's like, man, this is going to be like a warning sign for them.
Hmm.
Number one, listen to their body. But then number two, don't beat yourself up for needing rest. Like, give
No,
yourself grace and know that whatever it is that you're working on today, it is not life changing. It is not
no,
saving. Like, the world is not
it
going to
can wait.
tomorrow. It can wait. If you don't get it
Hmm.
done today, the world is not going to be over tomorrow. So giving yourself grace, I think, is so important before you are forced, before you're forced to do it. And then I think
Listen.
the success that you've gotten, the impact that you've had with so many other women, I think that's proof that so many other
Hmm.
women relate to what you've been through, and so many other women see the need for this resource.
Absolutely. It's so many of us need it. And let me tell you, just to go back to what you were saying, there is rest in resistance. And I didn't learn that until much later, but there is rest in saying, no, not right now. There is no rest in saying, no, I'm at capacity right now. There is rest in saying, no, I need to really focus on myself. And sometimes you're going to get resistance. You're going to get resistance from people that are used to you showing up the way that you've always shown up. And that's okay because you have to be comfortable, confident in yourself, knowing who you are, and
Yep.
take the rest you need.
Listen, so I've been recently, since my last maternity leave, I've been in this whole soft season vibe, like stepping into my soft life, not stressing myself out, overworking, overwhelming myself, giving myself anxiety, all of the things that we do. And some of that has been met with resistance, right? From the people who
Mhm.
are anti soft life, for the people who, um, think that soft life is the equivalent to like being lazy, or soft life is the equivalent to like going to the spa, or soft life means go get your nails done, which all of that might mean soft life. But to me, soft life is listening to your body. It's trusting your gut instinct when it's telling you, okay, sit down somewhere, or hit the gas, or slow down, or maybe this is your calling. Like, learning to trust what you already have inside of you, those are elements of the soft life. And so many of us Black women were raised to think that we got to be strong, we got to be tough, we got to be hard, we got to figure it all out, we got to handle it,
Mhm.
we can't need help from anyone, like we got to have it all
Mhm.
together. And again, it's not until life be lifing, right? It's not until life comes at you fast and you
Yes.
find yourself
Mhm.
sitting up in a hospital bed somewhere, or sitting
Mhm.
on bed rest somewhere, and you're like, okay, this is what I needed to do months ago. Or you realizing like the resilience that you have because of the rest that you took.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And sometimes we can't even hear what God is trying to tell us because we're so busy. We're
Yeah.
so busy moving from one thing to the next. We can't even hear the voice. So sometimes he has to make us be still and sit down somewhere so that we can actually hear his voice and what he's trying to tell us, because there is no way we can continue to pour from an empty cup. I'm a giver. I've always have been. Actually, I'm a PK. I grew up preacher's kid. My dad's a bishop, so that's all I ever seen was this servant leadership and being selfless. But I had to reprogram my mind to understand what being selfless is. Like, you have to be self true. You have to refill your cup before you can go out here and impact your communities and impact the world. You got to take care of you first. And that's not being selfish, that's being self true.
And I've said for years, like, feel however you want to feel about this, but I think that a certain level of success does require a certain level of selfishness. It does
Hmm.
require you saying, myself, right? What I need
Hmm.
has to come above what everybody else needs, because I can't possibly give you what you need if I don't have what I need. And that's
Yes.
okay. Like, that is okay. But as we start taking on all of these roles and taking on all of these titles, and God forbid you become a mother and you take on the title,
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
it becomes even more difficult to choose yourself.
Yes.
It becomes even more tough. You have even more guilt around doing
Yes.
what feels good for you, or doing what you need to do versus what everybody else expects from you, or what everybody else needs you, or how everybody else is pushing and pulling. It becomes even more of a challenge to choose yourself. So again, the importance of having these conversations. Another conversation that I was having a couple weeks ago, just like on the internet, is the fact that here I am in my late 30s, and I'm just now discovering this concept of boundaries. Like, I'm just
Mm.
now
Yes.
starting to feel like, okay, it's okay for you to say no, and that's the end of it, without all of that explanation, without all of that guilt that comes behind it, without feeling like you got to make up for it. Like, there's all of these things that we tell ourselves. We literally, like, imprison ourselves sometimes with these thoughts and beliefs around what other people deserve from us, and we don't even
Mhm.
stop to think about what we deserve from ourselves.
Ourselves.
So I
Mhm.
am all about self-care. I'm all about a vacation. Okay. Retreat me, baby. I am all about it. I want to talk about these Bossi retreats. I did check out your website. I saw some of the amazing destinations that you've been to. Cabo is Bay. Okay. I love, can't tell me anything about
Yeah.
Cabo. I love Cabo. So I saw that y'all were there. Y'all been hanging out in Mexico. And you're going to Greece next, which is such a beautiful destination. So talk to us a little bit about what goes on at these retreats. Like, are y'all really resting, or are y'all luxuriating? Like, what's happening at these retreats?
We are doing a little bit of both.
Okay.
Actually, I am extremely intentional about rest when we go on these retreats. I am extremely intentional about building in time, self reflection time, journaling time. Some of the things you'll find on our retreats is when you come, I'm going to hit you with a sound bath because we're going to leave all that negative energy at the door. We're not going to bring it past the threshold. So, usually on the first night there, we're doing sound bathing to get your mindset right. And then we're going to do sunrise yoga. We're going to eat healthy, and don't get it wrong, because it takes preparation before you even go, because sometimes we can be in this go 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 mode, and then we get there and we can't even take it in because we have all of this other stuff piled on top of our hearts, right? So what I'm intentional about doing is before we leave, we start in our personal Facebook group. We start with affirmations. We start with getting our mindset right. We start with prayer in the morning and meditation. So we're doing all these things in preparation to arriving at the retreat. And then when we get to the retreat, we're ready to receive everything that it has to offer us. So we take advantage of excursions. I always have a wellness workshop. And in that workshop, we're giving you tools, resources. This is not something that we expect to end after you leave. We want to equip you with the tools that you need to continue this, right? To continue creating this lifestyle that you want, creating a wellness lifestyle. So we're giving you the self-care tools and the resources during the wellness workshop. We have our sister circle time where we're sharing, we're connecting. And let me tell you, these women have there's some women that have attended these retreats that have become literally sister friends. Like, they are supporting each other on their journey. So it's not just that you show up at the retreat and once you get back, it's over. We have a community, a supportive community of high achieving, successful women with the same mindset, that they're on this journey of wellness and self-care from a holistic approach, right? It doesn't end. There is no expiration date.
I love the intentionality behind it. I love me some rest. Okay. Me and my husband, we always laugh because we always need like an extra day on vacation just to take a nap. Like we try to like build in naps to our itinerary because that is such an important element
Yes.
of just life that we don't always get to take advantage of in our regular lives. So sometimes it does take
Hmm.
us being away from home to intentionally rest so that we can hit that reset button. So I love the intention behind it. I know somebody out there is wondering this though, for someone who may not be familiar with what a sound bath is. Talk about that experience.
A sound bathing experience is honestly, once I was introduced to it, I was sold. But what it is it's it's um, I have a funny story to tell you. Listen, the one of the ladies on my retreats, I told her we were doing sound bathing, and she asked me if she needed to bring her swimsuit. I always tell this story, but listen, you don't need to bring your swimsuit, but as long as you have on some comfortable clothing, maybe some yoga pants, you have a yoga mat, you lie down on the floor, and there is an instructor there, and they have these bowls that are filled with water, and they make sound, and the sounds that come out of these bowls, they are speaking to the different chakras in our body. So it is helping eliminate negative energy. It is helping you release that stress and anxiety. And literally, once you come out of a 1 hour sound bath, it's equivalent to 4 hours of sleep. So you'll feel like you've actually taken a nap after a 1 hour sound bath because you feel that rejuvenated, because it's literally getting rid of all of that negative energy, all of that negative pent up stress that's inside of us.
I love it. That definitely sounds like the perfect way to start out a retreat wellness experience like this. I know that somebody else out there is wondering, like, if I want to come alone, do I have to have a roommate? Do I have to bring a friend with me? Do you have women that travel alone? What is the experience like for someone who might be considering coming by themselves?
You can arrive alone, but you don't leave alone. That's We do have a roommate pairing option for those who don't have a roommate or travel alone. And what we do is we do a survey. We look at what are your likes, what are your interests, and we pair you up with someone that has similar interests, right? And you get to meet before you leave because we have several different connection points leading up to departure. So once you get there, you almost feel like you know the person already. And like I said, when you get there, one thing we don't do negative vibes. I have been so blessed with the amazing women that have attended my retreat. They are all just so amazing, so welcoming. The energy is always high. And when you leave, you have a whole tribe of women to support you on your journey as you continue.
I love that. I
Yeah,
also love that you said it
yeah.
doesn't expire. Like this is the beginning of something. This is the
Mhm,
start. You know, you literally your reset to start a new chapter or step into a new season. So I love the work that you are doing. I love that you're intentional. It's not just about putting together a girls trip, even though those are needed too. But I love that you're
mhm.
intentional about making sure the self-care and the wellness and just that investment that you deserve is there. So make sure you
Yes.
all log on to Bossi Retreats, Bossi Bossi retreats.com. They are headed to Santorini, Greece this October. Beautiful destination.
Yes.
And I'm sure you have some more amazing destinations coming up. So stay connected at Bossi Retreats on Instagram. BossiRetreats.com is where you can find more information about their upcoming retreat. I will also make sure that I paste the link down below so that you can just head to the show notes below and register for your wellness retreat. Dionne, I have
Yes.
truly enjoyed this conversation. I know
Yes.
that so many women out there need to start taking more responsibility for their wellness, their health, and their well being. So I appreciate
Yes.
you for being an advocate for all of that, for being an advocate for women, for being an example for Black women of not just the importance of, listening to your body and taking that selfish self care, but your entire purpose like grew from this painful situation that you had to experience. So many lessons all the way around.
Yes.
I appreciate you for being here. It was
Thank you.
a pleasure having you on Girl Stop Playin. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like the video, comment down below and let me know something that you learned. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new episodes, and log on to BossiRetreats.com so that you can head on out to Greece with Dionne this fall. I will see y'all on the next episode. Peace out.
Thank you.